Okay, right now I'm recording on my other phone, and as I was working down here, right now I'm taking a bit of a break from dismantling a pallet board or two. One of the questions, I guess several questions that came to mind about card collecting. Did Yu Gi Oh! Lose its value? Did Yu Gi Oh! Lose a sense of not being collectible anymore, right? The reason why I say that because I'm noticing, compared to Pokemon products, how Pokemon is always really more so doing a lot more, putting out more products than Yu-Gi-Oh has, and for a while Yu-Gi-Oh was on top of its game and it was becoming very highly requested, especially if you take a look at some of the cards from the last collector's boxes, like Legendary Duelist 1, 2, Legendary Collections, the Speed Duels, right? And only very small selective few cards from the 25 anniversary 10s. And I was curious with I think like last month ago, right? Because these are some good random pulls. And these are these cards that have like the full fledged striped hollows going across it, like all over the card. I know the camera won't do it justice. And I said to myself, he's like really good card. I'm like, wow, just to pull so much of these random stripes cards, like the full shiny, glossy, glittery, striped hollow cards, is what I pulled. And if I uploaded a video showing a lot of my card collection and things out of my personal collection, and one of the things when I tried to just, out of, curiosity's sake, that I said to myself, how much can I get for these cards, right? How much can I get for them? And a lot of the secondhand game stores, right? Oh, well, we're not taking Yu-Gi-Oh right now or at the moment because they want to start taking Pokemon, which to me is very hypocritical. You say you're not selling or taking Pokemon, but or you're not selling or taking Yu-Gi-Oh, but that's all you send to have because nobody comes in here asking for Pokemon. Like, let's just keep it real, right? Let's just keep it real. So they're trying to move their Yu-Gi-Oh products, right? Here's the thing: you sell your Yu-Gi-Oh products, right? If I had the money, I would buy a few, yeah. And they're trying to now move Pokemon. GameStop, they'll take cards, but they want graded. And right now, GameStop, I feel the only way that GameStop is really staying above market is not by selling consoles or the games, it's or Yu-Gi-Oh, right? When it comes to trading cards, is that they are staying above water selling. Ooh, didn't mean for that to fall. Selling things such as uh, Magic of the Gathering or the Disney card game, right? I don't know what it's called, but like that. Um, I can't say they're staying above water by selling uh, Dragon Ball, right? Collectible card game, you know, or really with games or consoles, or I think they're staying above water with the Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, and again that Disney card collection game. I don't know what it's called for the life of me. I really don't. But and their figures, right? Now, what kind of makes it? I feel them wanting to, I guess, stay in the card game when buying cards from people. They want graded, right? Now, a good. So I don't think a lot of people, right, are not going to be selling their graded cards and getting stuff sent in to get graded. That does cost some money, and if you have something that you know is of worth being graded, of value, you are going to want to sit on that for a while. You're not going to want to sell that right away. And right now, nobody has been going to GameStop and selling their graded cards. Nobody. Right? No one. And right now, the economy is bad. I know a lot of people right now are struggling, like most, right? So, not a lot, and a lot of these companies, right? They're not offering anybody any money for their stuff. They're hoping to get it for free or for nothing. Not really wanting to buy. So, in one hand, a food for thought. You know, are these companies going broke too? Like GameStop, are they losing money? Are they going broke? It is hard to say. We hear rumors all the time and headlines about GameStop eventually closing and stores like that. We hear about that. Let's not pretend that we don't. We do. I think it's a matter of time that it will. That's because I do feel, in one hand, is this, right? You're not pushing like you should when it came to staying above water with retro games that they used to sell, having sales deals, being able to work with people, um, and then getting into saying, okay, we would love to trade and buy cards. We're not going to focus on graded cards because not everybody could afford to send their cards to get graded. Not everybody is going to want to sell a graded card. Especially when you have the market out there with eBay, and a lot of the asking prices for that can get high up there, and people are going to want to make their money worth. And you are going to have some people that may not be struggling, may not be worried about finances like that, who are able to afford a graded card, right? But again, how many people can say, well, I'm not so worried about the financial part, of that aspect. So, especially when you take things within the early vintage days of Yu-Gi-Oh, or now vintage days of Yu-Gi-Oh, if they're mint condition, they're going to go for a lot of money. Even the graded first starter decks, are getting up there. They're getting up there, and some of these places are going to hoping to get a mint condition, good condition, I should say, of some of the earlier products, even like the like your legendary collection, your legendary Duelist 2, the speed duel boxes with everything. Even if it's factory sealed, they're hoping, okay, if we get that, they're thinking, okay, I want it. I want to offer this person some money, but I don't want to offer them a lot, And you're gonna want to, and they're to think, okay, we need to be able to make money off this. But then you also have things like the secondhand game stores, like Game Exchange, that, like the lowball people, they're not focusing on like they should, right? They became more of a electronic, almost trying to go in a music place rather than focus on figures and games and movies like they used to. Let's just keep it real, But it's like, oh, well, we're not buying right now for Yu-Gi-Oh. Well, nobody's coming for you for Pokemon either. So, and everybody who collects Yu-Gi-Oh at that who buys or collects Yu-Gi-Oh goes there depending, and they tend to sell out. But what they're also wanting is again, okay, give us the full sets, right, for nothing. But they also want people to sell their graded cards. No, again, nobody's gonna go out there and say, "Man, I'm gonna sell you my graded card," especially if you know how Game Exchange does their customers, and especially when it does come to good graded cards or good condition mint cards, right? They'll price them for a stupid number, right? A number that ain't nobody gonna pay for. They do sell a lot of beaten up cards too that they put in sleeves. I notice in their display stands, especially their TCG cards, for a stupid number. Yeah, nobody in their right mind's going to ask for that price. So, like, a lot of this cards I'm showing you guys are in my personal collection. My personal stuff, not ones that are or in the binder or in a thing like this, right? Because these are like these full striped hollows. I got regular hollows and little things like that. But I also got the cards that I showed and videos again and some the tins and stuff mint condition that they would separate, I guess, or want to keep it in full depending. And this right here came from a random pull. It's the Obliterate Trap card. It's the full holographic card like that. You see that? They'll see something like that. Okay, they may want to keep it in, or they may want to kind of tether it a bit and then sell it for a high price. So the question again remains, did Yu-Gi-Oh lose its value? Is Yu-Gi-Oh not going is Yu-Gi-Oh not becoming popular anymore? Did it lose its value? I don't think so. I really don't. I do know, yeah, they're not putting out as much products like Pokemon. And right now, I think the only reason why Pokemon is ahead of Yu-Gi-Oh, that's because the adult people my age. I never got into Pokemon. I can't say that and not to sound, you know, rude, but I just don't give a shit. To me, Pokemon and that raw. I think what they're trying to capture is that feeling of Generation One Pokemon when you had the figures, you had the stickers, you had the cards from then. But I feel like now a lot of that these days may have lost value because now there's so much of them, just like the Beanie Babies. Especially, go back into the 90s with all that. And then after so many years later, oh, they find a warehouse full of them, and now they're all out there, and it loses its rarity. It loses its value, for one, too. And I think eventually, right now, with so many things now from 25 years, 30-year anniversary stuff, and I think Pokemon eventually is going to get to that point where it's like, okay, we're going to release all the Generation 1 stuff, reprints, even, Force figures for that nostalgia thing, right? Again, amongst people my age. And then the stuff that's, is original from 25 to 30 years ago is going to be like, and now it's not going to be of value, And I can say, yeah, in my area, Pokemon's killing it. Walmart has these rules and signposted for Pokemon. Not for Yu-Gi-Oh, but for Pokemon. For Pokemon. I know there's a game store. They're called Game Nights. Like you can go in there, buy, sell, and trade, but also play like against duels, and they do a lot of Magic at the Gathering, and they are sticking to their guns and saying, okay, we're going to focus on Magic at the Gathering. So now you have Magic the Gathering and Pokemon in certain areas, like my local area, that are clashing, going against each other. What can sell the most, or um, like a popularity contest, I guess you could say. And it's always been there. I always definitely have seen that, but I need to just sit and I look and I wonder to myself, you know, let me pause this video. I'm gonna grab something. Well, let me. So, as I was saying, did Yu-Gi-Oh lose their value? But then here's the thing I always ask. So say I come into your store, right? And I say, okay, I want to sell what I have here is Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. But these are sets. What do you mean sets? I'm gonna show you, right? So I'm gonna put that down on the ground there because I don't have room. So let's say, ooh, crap, I don't want to drop that. So I'm gonna hold off on this, right? So I'm gonna pull this tin out and say, okay, what I have in here are cards, not full sets, but random pulls, decks I've put together. Okay, cool. Well, what do you have? So they're gonna look and explain it to them. This side of this deck here is the Hell deck. Underneath it's my own personal deck called Guardian Angel deck. And this is like a dragon type of deck. These are just extra cards. But then underneath here, I've been trying to gather all 530 cards of Yugi/Atim's deck, which I have, and I still would like to do that. So they go through and it's like, okay, everything's mint condition. The tin, okay. Well, let's see what you have, right? Let's see what you have. Well, what else do you have? What else do you have? It's like, okay, I'm going to take this out. I have the Legendary Duelist 2. I don't have one, but I have 2. Okay, they're all in here, mint condition, which they are. So they'll open it. They'll see some of the main front cards are in protective sleeves, right? Especially your bonus ones, right? They'll see that. Like, oh, okay. Now, eventually when I get extra money, I got to get some hard toppers for these. That is something that's needed. They'll go through and they'll say they're mint condition. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Now, I'll take this out. I'll take this one out, right? Okay. A lot of these are from the Seto Kaiba re-releases. That's been going on. You have a lot of your main bonus cards, or certain ones too that are like full hollow, that are full protective sleeves and hard toppers. And then you have the ones that are just protective sleeves that are good hollows as well. So they'll see that, like, oh, okay. So which one are these? I tell them they're from the Seto Kaiba ones. Oh, the Kaiba collection. Okay, interesting. Right? So they'll see that and they're like, okay, well, what else do you got, right? So that's when, right, we'll say we'll put that off there, right, to the side, right? Because they're also going to look at the tins. They're going to want to probably resell the tins or what have you. I'll say, okay, well, what else do you got? And so I grab this, and so I got these two. These are all full sets of the box collections here. Full sets of the box collections. Okay, well, let's see. Right. The Legendary Dragon one. They'll open it. Boom, they'll see that, oh, okay, you got the cards and stuff protected. I'm like, yeah, yes, I do. That's good. That's they're not going to be expecting that. But they'll see that. Okay, they'll put that away on top there. It's like, oh, okay, that's cool. Not everybody usually does that. Well, what else? Okay, I got Battle City finals here. Okay, it's all in there, mint condition again. Some of your main advertised ones are pretty protected, and they're all in good condition, right? So then I take out the Streets of Battle City. I show them everything's all in here. Boom, they'll see it. They'll go through it. Again, some of your main cards are really protected. and everything, right? And you got to think, as they're seeing this, like, man, we didn't expect to get full sets like this or these brought in. And I take out the first one that was released. Again, it's all protected, everything in there, mats included. And then your main advertising ones, fully protected. So they'll see that. And now they're thinking, okay, this is really cool. I want to get them, but I don't want to pay a lot of money for them. So, they're going to want a low ball. But then, or they want to come up with a decent price. I guess it really depends on who you put up with. They're like, okay, how can I get this? How can I get it for nothing? What can I do? And they're hoping the person's going to probably sucker for it to whatever offer. And if that person does, let's say if they offer me something decent, say, you know what? Let's say they say, okay, will you take 200, like 500? Right? And they're thinking, okay, I don't want to get 500. I'm hoping to make 500 from this. Or you gonna say, okay, well, meet me halfway then, 450. No, I can't do that. Then I'll say, okay, I'm gonna pull back then, just to see if they. Oh, okay, we'll give 500. Because then they're like, okay, we got these. Let's advertise them, post them, see how much we can get. That's what they're hoping for. But in reality is, ain't nobody gonna give them full sets like this. Just like ain't nobody's gonna give them their graded cards. But if you ask me, they need to pull back away from focusing on grading cards. Go back what made them good. Taking cards like this, like such, and you'll be fine. But right now, I'm noticing, like I said, I think Yu-Gi-Oh is losing popularity. I think Yu-Gi-Oh is not as valuable anymore either. And you could blame the company who manufacture them and who's in control of that state for that. That's why so many places now are only focused on Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, and Pokemon Magic the Gathering has always been a well-loved and supply demand type of product for, and that says a lot. That really, really says a lot. But I do feel like Yu-Gi-Oh lost its value. I do feel like it's not within that popular stage anymore. So many places right now are wanting to move away from it. It's just not demand, and that's because the product's not really being pushed like it should. Nothing's really coming out like it should. That's why a lot of them are so in high demand for Pokemon Magic the Gathering, because there's always something released for that's always in high asking of demand.